What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. And in this one, we're going to go over quite a bit of Michigan news, guys that we've already signed out of the portal, guys who we're looking at in the portal, and who have scheduled meetings or visits with the team. And I have 4 more names of guys actively available in the portal who I think could fit Michigan's system and help this team win games in 2026. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. But first, if you're new, if you like the content, consider subscribing, all that good stuff. It is free, and like I said before, it's good for the soul. So, with that said, let's get into who Michigan has already signed in the transfer portal. And we will start with the 3 specialists, right? Special teamers. We got Nico Crawford, who's a long snapper from Pitt. And we have his kicker, Trey Butkowski, a kicker from Pittsburgh. Trey had a 87% conversion rate on field goals, 98% on extra points, with a long of 47. So I don't think he didn't attempt a single field goal over 50 yards. So it's remains to be seen how big of a leg he actually has. But he is a freshman, so he's probably only going to get stronger, only going to develop. But I do like that they combined the kicker with his long snapper. It's a nuanced relationship with a long snapper and a punter and kicker. There is chemistry there, so I kind of like that. They brought in a new punter, Cam Brown from UNLV. Cam had a 43.8 yard per punt average. He had a long of 71 yards, which is crazy, and he had 17 punts pinned inside the 20-yard line. So punting was a big issue for Michigan this year. Hudson Hollenbeck just did not get it done often enough this season. So it's nice to have a nice seasoned punter in here. He is from Australia. So I'm excited for those 3 guys because I think they're obvious automatic starters and contributors. And again, these are all positions of need. So they may not be the flashy or the sexy picks, but they are needed. And the last player that we have currently brought in is Taylor Tatum, who is a running back from Oklahoma. And the general consensus that I'm seeing online is that people are a little confused or maybe even frustrated with the fact that they brought in a running back rather than a defensive lineman or a wide receiver or even a backup quarterback of that nature. We're bringing back Jordan Marshall. We're bringing in the top-rated running back, Savion Hyder. We might still get Justice Haynes to come back. If Justice Haynes comes back, then we're golden. But you can't have too many good running backs on a roster. We're going to lose Bryson Cudstall. We're losing Jasper Parker. So we do need another running back on the roster. He is a former number 1 running back in his class just a couple years ago. So he's not a scrub at all. He was highly touted. You don't get to the number 1 player at your position for no reason. He played pretty well as a true freshman, had over 250 rushing yards, had a couple of touchdowns, one of them through the air. So he does have some versatility as well. He didn't play this most recent season. He had 1 carry for -1 yards this season because he got hurt. But I'm looking at his freshman tape and looking at the fact that he was such a highly regarded recruit out of high school just 2 years ago. So I don't think it's a bad signing at all. Again, you can never have too many good players on a football team, so I'm not going to complain. We have 4 players either have visited already or are set to visit. J.J. Buchanan is the most recent one. He is a highly talented tight end from Utah, so Whittingham did recruit him, and he was very productive for him. I think over 14 yards of reception and a few touchdowns. He's pretty lean, right? He's 6'4", 6'5", but he's going to need to put on a little bit of muscle. He's built more like a really big wide receiver, and it kind of reminds me of the way that Utah used Dalton Kincaid when he was at Utah. So another really good athlete, and we're losing Marlon Klein, but we're bringing back Zach Marshall, who I'm projecting as the starter. I think Zach was actually the best tight end on the team all year. I believe we should be getting back Deacon Tonielli as well. And obviously we have Hogan Hansen as well. But this guy might slide into like tight end 1, tight end 1A type of deal, because it wouldn't shock me if Michigan ended up using a 12 personnel and just used 2 tight ends relatively often. I think 12 personnel is really hard to defend as a defense, especially when you have really hyper athletic tight ends. We also have Rasheem Biles, who he is a junior, and quick side note, a lot of people were mentioning in the comments on my last video that I was mentioning a lot of juniors as good fits, and 2 things can be true at one time. These guys can be good fits, but also people do have a good point in saying that Michigan's academic standards when it comes to bringing in transfers and their credits transferring over does play a part. And unfortunately, it's kind of the downside to Michigan being such a, at the risk of sounding pretentious, I guess, it's the risk of being a elite higher educational institution, right? They're going to have really high academic standards for being a non-Ivy League school. And so that does play a part. So most of these guys that I'm going to mention, Rasheem is the only junior on here. Most of these guys are either seniors or sophomores. So I did want to put that into account. But Biles, to a lot of people, would be an upgrade over Cole Sullivan. And Cole did a fantastic job for us this season. Rasheem Biles, though, did equally, if not better, for Pittsburgh. 39 solo tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 picks. The guy's super athletic. He flies all over the field. Good sideline to sideline speed. He would be inserted day one into the starting role and really give that defense a boost, I think. So I would be all for bringing him in. Smith Snowden does have his visit set, and a lot of these Utah guys I'm expecting to see in the maize and blue. Smith Snowden, I think, would be your perimeter corner instead of Zeke Berry. I think Zeke Berry, to me, stylistically, is more of a nickel anyway. So I would just move Zeke into the slot, put Smith Snowden outside. I think that would work best. John Henry Daly is, from what I've read, he's expected to sign with Michigan. So it looks like that's going to be another guy that we bring in. He does flash some Aiden Hutchinson look-alike moments, right? I mean, that's high praise. I'm not saying that he's Aiden Hutchinson, right? And some people might be like, well, you're only saying that they're similar because they're beefy white boys rushing the passer on the edge. And, it is an obvious similarity, but 11.5 sacks. He's absolutely a monster disruptor in the backfield. He's good against the run. He's good in pass rush. He is also a day one insert at starter and would give this Michigan team a kind of that pass rushing boost that they didn't really have as much as they have in recent years. So I'd be super happy to see him. So those are the 4 guys either expected to sign or have set visits in place. And with that, I kind of want to go into a few more names. These are guys who are still available, and I did my homework before I made the video. Made sure, because there's actually 2 guys on here that already signed somewhere else because the transfer portal moves like that. So I want to make sure these guys are actually still available before I told you guys that they were. So I want to start with a DB. And it's Makai Shahid from Youngstown State. FCS guy, but he's highly productive at the FCS level. He can play both safety spots. He played at free safety and strong safety. He moved around a lot. I think he has the athletic profile and the athletic capability to play nickel as well if you needed him to. So I really love his versatility in the defensive backfield. And he's only a sophomore as well. So I believe he has a visit set for Nebraska. So he is getting power conference visits and invites, I think that he would fit the system well. And I think that he would add much needed depth. Safety is starting to become a little bit more of a concern with me. And so I would love to see some safeties get in here for this team. I want to go into a pass catcher because this team is still in need of wide receiver help. And we already know that guys like Ohio State's receiver, Quincy Porter, has been somewhat linked to Michigan. Michigan is expected to be a player, right? He has no visit to Michigan set up, though. I find it hard to believe that he would choose Michigan, being the 4th ranked wide receiver in his class just a year ago. But you never know. I mean, we got Bryce to come. We got enough money, right? If you've got enough money in today's portal day and age, you might be able to get any of these guys. But this is another OSU kind of, technically he's an OSU player, sort of, but it's Noah Rogers. He's a wide receiver from North Carolina State. Sophomore, 6'2", 205, so he's good size. 33 catches, 441 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I say pseudo Buckeye because he was actually recruited by Ohio State out of high school. He was a high 4-star guy. And then he transferred to North Carolina State after his true freshman season. So he did play for the Buckeyes for a year. He appeared in 4 games and didn't make a huge impact statistically, but it's Ohio State. And so if you're even a high 4-star, maybe even a 5-star guy might get kind of stashed away in the depth chart a little bit. But he was good enough in Ohio State's eyes to recruit him. And I know we don't root for Ohio State as Michigan fans, but real recognizes real, and no program produces and recruits wide receivers like Ohio State has. Even before Brian Hartline, they had some really good receivers. So I think that's a point to kind of take into consideration with him. But he's a bigger guy. He has strong hands. He's strong at the catch point. Objectively, I would say he's not the fastest guy in the world. And so his route running might leave a little to be desired, but I think that can be coached up. He has the natural raw ability and talent, and he fits a need. I'm kind of looking more at these guys who are 6'1", 6'2", or higher, right? Who are long, have a good catch radius and things of that nature, just for the sole fact that Andrew Marsh is not a big guy, but he's the wide receiver 1. So I want a guy like Donovan McCulley. I mean, I think what Michigan's approach was with getting McCulley was the proper approach. You want a big, longer, big-bodied guy to complement kind of the more slot receiver physique of Andrew Marsh. So I am looking at bigger guys like that. But at the same time, if a 5'10" dude who's super productive at a power conference level comes available, then I'm not going to complain. So, because we got a lot of unproven guys in that receiver room outside of Andrew. So that's definitely a major point of emphasis for this team. The last 2 names are what I think are it's the biggest position need for Michigan right now, and it's interior defensive line. Our defensive tackle depth is not great. Michigan is working on getting Eno Etta to come back, and I really hope they do, just for depth purposes. But I want to start with Dalen Evans, who recently entered the portal today, I believe. Defensive tackle from Texas A&M. He's a freshman, so he's going into his sophomore year. So tons of eligibility left. I like this dude a lot. He was a high 4-star recruit. He was the number 28 overall player in his class, which, considering he's from Texas and he's a defensive tackle, to be in the top 30 overall means you're a dog. Tons of raw talent, and he's already built like a grown-ass man. He's 6'4" and over 300 pounds already, so he's only going to fill out more. And with the new strength and conditioning program that we're bringing to UM, I have no doubt that he would bulk up, build up his strength, build up his conditioning, and just continue to get even more of a menace for the run game. Because, again, interior D-line is definitely our biggest need right now. But I love his raw talent. I love that he's young. And he would probably be a starter also at this point, at least. And the last guy is another Utah player. He is Jonah Leala. Sorry, I'm just bad with Polynesian names, to be honest. So forgive me and don't roast me too hard. But obvious, coming from Utah, there's a familiarity there. He's trusted. It's a position in need, and he's been productive. He was a starter for Utah, and he could. And if hypothetically, if you got both these dudes, or at least guys of this caliber to come in here, they're both probably day one starters, unless we get guys like Inoue to come back. So that is 4 quick names. You can look into them yourself as well. The portal is just nuts. It's really hard to keep track. So I'm doing my best to kind of give you guys some names of men who could make this team better and kind of make their presence felt. So quick recap for you guys. Set for visits: J.J. Buchanan, Rasheem Biles, Smith Snowden. John Henry Daly looks like he's expected to join. And we brought in Nico Crawford, Trey Bukowski, Cam Brown, and Taylor Tatum. And those 4 names I just mentioned, we got a DB, we got a couple of D tackles, and we got a pass catcher. So I'm probably going to be done with these videos pertaining to potential guys because there's thousands and thousands of players in the portal. So it's somewhat futile to me to predict these guys coming in, but I do like the idea of breaking down guys who have connections to this coaching staff, guys who have raw talent, who have lots of years of eligibility left. So I'm excited to see where Michigan goes from here, because I think we're probably going to see Michigan have a big portal signing dump soon. Kyle was focusing more on roster retention and building the staff first. So I'm expecting the next week to get a lot of news on guys who Michigan have brought in and signed. So with that said, I'm excited. Let's see what Michigan can do, and go blue.